Welcome back to the channel, United fans. In today's video, we've got all the latest updates from Manchester United, including 2 big transfers confirmed after the deadline day. Man United confirmed 2 transfers after deadline day as attacker Seals move. Manchester United were not able to land a forward on transfer deadline day but secured moves for some of their young talents which were not announced until after the window shut. 2 Manchester United exits were confirmed after the transfer window closed on Monday night. The Red Devils secured loan deals for Sam Mather and Lewis Jackson, who have joined League Two strugglers Tranmere Rovers until the end of the season. Mather, an England under-19 international, and Jackson, who has been named among the substitutes for the first team, have been regulars for United's under-21 side this season. The pair played important roles during the club's FA Youth Cup success in 2022, and it marks the first time that 19-year-old Jackson heads out on loan for senior action. Mather meanwhile spent time on loan at National League side Rochdale last season. The duo make up United's 9th and 10th loan exits during the winter window, to join the likes of Marcus Rashford and Antony in spending time away from Old Trafford. Tranmere manager Nigel Adkins is happy to have acquired the services of players from a top-flight environment. "We are delighted to sign a pair of young, talented players from a Premier League club, which gives us greater strength in depth for the second half of the season," he said. "I look forward to working with them both." United were unable to achieve any incoming transfer business on deadline day, after failing in their bid to land Mathys Tel on Sunday. Ruben Amorim's side ultimately did not turn anywhere else to strengthen their hand despite struggles in front of goal. The club's hierarchy were not prepared to take expensive risks. That included paying high loan fees for improving young players with no buy option as Bayern Munich would have demanded for Mathys Tel, though Spurs were able to come to terms with the German giants. United reckon their caution will allow them more freedom to work in the summer to enhance Amorim's options. The Red Devils are said to believe they undertook 2 significant pieces of business in sending Rashford and Antony out on loan, and making saving on the pair's significant salaries. Amorim will have 2 new players to choose from for United's next fixture after Patrick Dorgu and Aiden Heaven were presented at Old Trafford ahead of defeat to Crystal Palace. The club ultimate chose not to make further defensive additions following Lisandro Martinez's injury, which could see him ruled out for the rest of the season. Gary Neville reacts as Man United confirmed transfer with alarming Ruben Amorim point. Manchester United have struggled to be consistent under Ruben Amorim, falling to a 2-0 home defeat to Crystal Palace last weekend and consequently ending a 3-game unbeaten run in all competitions. Gary Neville insists Ruben Amorim must do one key thing to ensure Manchester United kick on after a difficult first months in charge. United have so far struggled to be consistent under the Portuguese manager, especially in front of goal. They ended the transfer window by welcoming just 2 signings in Lecce's Patrick Dorgu and Arsenal youngster Aiden Heaven. Given Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee's struggles in front of goal and Marcus Rashford's exit to Aston Villa, there was some expectation the club hierarchy would sign a new striker as a short-term option. However, sources insisted United had no intention of recruiting any short-term or stopgap players who could compromise the club's budget in the summer, leaving fans to question the strategy. After 3 games unbeaten in all competitions, the Reds fell to a 2-0 home defeat to Crystal Palace. It was Amorim's 5th Premier League defeat at Old Trafford since taking over in November. Speaking on the Gary Neville podcast after Sunday's defeat, the United icon addressed the club's current situation and what Amorim must do in an attempt to revert the situation. "In the system that Amorim wants to play, wing-backs are absolutely critical. You have to have energy and quality in those wide areas," Neville highlighted. "Wing-back is a position completely to wing, and to full-back you have to be good at both. So they brought in Patrick Dorgu, who I think will play on that left side and need that balance. He obviously got Diogo Dalot and Noussair Mazraoui playing there. It's not ideal because they always cut back on the right foot. But you're absolutely right, there's going to be a lot more pain, I think, towards the end of the season. It is going to be damaging because there's obviously going to stick with Ruben Amorim. But the more you lose, the more difficult it is for the manager to convince the players of the idea. The idea that he talked about in the very early days, I will not change my idea. He needs the players to buy into that. If they keep losing with it, then they keep getting criticized with it and the spotlight comes on them more and fans are leaving unhappy. I'm sure 72,000 fans are walking out of the stadium having not scored a goal. You've lost 2-0 to Crystal Palace. You can't keep losing, you just can't. It will depress the thoughts of players to a point whereby they will start to lose faith in the idea. I don't know, he has to do something. We can't change his approach now because he's died in the ditch, and rightly so. Neville added, I think he's lost more games at Manchester untied since he's come than he lost in 75 games at Sporting Lisbon. 3 ways Manchester United could line up without Lisandro Martinez after injury blow. Man United could find themselves without centre-back Lisandro Martinez for the remainder of the season. Manchester United fear they could be without centre-back Lisandro Martinez for the rest of the season with a suspected knee injury. The Argentine international was forced off on a stretcher in the closing stages of Sunday's 2-0 defeat to Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. Martinez was left in tears following the innocuous tangle with Palace ace Ismail Assar. United are yet to confirm the extent of Martinez's injury, but the Manchester Evening News understands he might not play again this season. The Reds are likely to provide an official diagnosis ahead of Friday night's FA Cup clash with Leicester City. Martinez, 27, had recently been enjoying his best run of form this season, establishing himself as a key fixture on the left of United's back three. He provided the assist for Bruno Fernandes' winner against Rangers last month before scoring a winner of his own against Fulham 3 days later. Losing a player of such importance leaves United head coach Ruben Amorim having to fill a huge void in defense. Below, Men's Sport has looked at 3 solutions the Portuguese chief could consider during the former Ajax man's absence. De Ligt gets a new role. Martinez is United's only senior left-footed centre-back, meaning his period of absence is going to create a headache for Amorim in more ways than one. He offers United balance on the left of the back three, and with no like-for-like replacement of a senior level available, the Reds risk becoming unbalanced. United strengthened their centre-back pool on Saturday, swooping for youngster Aiden Heaven from Arsenal. Despite being signed to go straight into the first-team squad, he has only ever made 1 competitive appearance at senior level, and that was a substitute appearance that amounted to just 10 minutes. Amid his inexperience, Amorim may have to oversee a reshuffle that sees Matthijs de Ligt deployed as the left-sided centre-back, despite the Dutchman being naturally right-footed. Harry Maguire is at his best in the middle of the back three, and Lenny Yoro is considered as a long-term option at right-sided centre-back. Shaw picks up the baton. Luke Shaw's impending return from injury may not have been timed any better. The England international has been involved in first-team training at Carrington recently, and the hope is he will soon be available to make his long-awaited return from his latest setback. Shaw has made just 3 substitute appearances for United this season and last started a game for the club almost a year ago. As injury-prone as he has become in recent years, he is one of the Reds' best defenders when he is fit. The former Southampton man was often deployed as a makeshift centre-back in a back four under former United manager Erik ten Hag, meaning there is a strong belief he would cope just fine. Man United's strongest 11 after January transfer window and Patrick Dorgu deal. Manchester United's squad for the remainder of the season is now set following the closure of the January transfer window. United finished the window with 2 new signings being added to Ruben Amorim's squad. Patrick Dorgu arrived on a permanent deal from Lecce, while Jason Wilcox confirmed Aiden Heaven has been signed for the first team, with the duo set to add valuable depth to the United squad at Old Trafford. Dorgu and Heaven could make their United debuts on Friday when they face Leicester City in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Now that the transfer window has closed, United will be looking ahead to achieving the best possible results across the remainder of the season. Even though Dorgu and Heaven were the only new signings in the squad, they were not the only players linked with a move to United. Deadline day saw Bayern Munich striker Matthijs Tel credited as a target for United, before he went on to join Tottenham Hotspur on loan, which also includes an option to buy. United did do more business, albeit not any new signings. Marcus Rashford completed a loan move to Aston Villa, while Antony will also spend the remainder of the campaign away from Old Trafford after he joined Real Betis on loan. Dorgu will give Amorim an option at left-back, with Diogo Dalot and Nussair Mazraoui being used in the role under Amorim this season. The new signing from Lecce is also capable of performing on the right wing, which will add valuable versatility to the United squad. The injury to Lisandro Martinez will give Amorim concern about the defensive options going into the rest of the season, and while Heaven has been signed for the first team squad, it would be a surprise to see him walk straight into the starting 11. Martinez is reported to have suffered an ACL injury, which would leave him on the sidelines for several months. United now have Matthijs de Ligt, Lenny Yoro, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Johnny Evans as the recognized senior centre-backs at the club. Luke Shaw could also be used in the left-sided centre-back role in a back 3 or back 5. Amorim used a different system during the defeat to Crystal Palace that saw Kobbie Mainoo in a more advanced role, with Manuel Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes as the midfield pairing. Amad Diallo and Alejandro Garnacho started in the final third, while recognized strikers Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund were left on the bench. Given Mainoo's impressive form and Zirkzee and Højlund's struggles in front of goal so far this season, Amorim could be tempted to continue playing the same way moving forward. Man United's best 11 after January transfer window: Onana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Maguire, Yoro, Dorgu, Ugarte, Fernandes, Amad, Mainoo, Garnacho.